Mm. Hello, goblins. It's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. It's an episode of this week's Pipes. But you're going to have to bear with me today. My mind has been all over the place this week. All over the place. Oh, let's start with the basics, shall we? I'm smoking again. GLP's Regent's Flake. It is very lovely. This week, been doing a bunch of things. On Netflix, okay, this is my new recommendation on Netflix, The Residents. Highly recommend it. I haven't finished it yet. But it's a good, old-fashioned murder mystery whodunit. It's very humorous, which I like, in a good whodunit. And it's nice and quirky. Lots of great characters in it. It's just everything you want. So The Residents, highly recommended. Yeah. I'm not going to say any more about it. I can't say any more about it because it's a murder mystery. So anything I say will just spoil stuff, and I'm not going to do that. But I urge you to watch it. It kind of like, the main character is like the Sherlock Holmes style, you know. Except, well, no, not except. Is basically an embodiment of Sherlock Holmes, you know. Hugely intelligent, barely knows how to relate to other human beings, that kind of thing. Which is good. But it's a she, and, you know. But apart from that, it's basically Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes. Alright, what else am I going to... Right, I made notes. Right. The other thing I've been watching, this time on the YouTube. So you will have heard, a couple of weeks back, David Lynch, the director, died. And that really bummed me out quite heavily because, well, he really reminds me of my granddad. He does. Weirdly. He just really reminded me of my granddad. And whenever you hear him speak, he's just really lovely. And I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan as well. And Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive. And I loved his version of Dune. I don't care what anyone says. I really liked it. It really stuck with me. And of course it has Carl McLachlan. Patrick Stewart, a whole load of great actors in that. Anyway, I just felt the urge to go back and watch. There's a channel, it's more or less defunct now, but it's still up. It's called Twin Perfect. And the guy on there is brilliant. He does a 4.5 hour explanation, full explanation of Twin Peaks. Maybe. But it's really great. He just talks all about Twin Peaks, all about the symbology in Twin Peaks. And talks about David Lynch. References David Lynch interviews, written or videoed TV interviews. And is just a wonderful deep dive into both Twin Peaks and David Lynch. So I highly recommend that. If I can remember, I'll put a link to that. I really, if you like Twin Peaks or David Lynch, watching his 4-hour deep dive into the symbology, into the meaning of Twin Peaks, whether you agree with him or not, is just fascinating and wonderful. He includes season 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, and Twin Peaks The Return. Now, I will say I did not care for Twin Peaks The Return. I watched all of it. But up with it, I could not put. It didn't do a lot for me. It could be argued it wasn't meant to, but that doesn't really help. Anyway, still, there's still loads of interesting concepts in Twin Peaks The Return, even if I didn't enjoy watching Twin Peaks The Return. So that's cool. So anyway, so that's that, and here's the David Lynch. Another channel I listen to is Sam Harris, and his wife is just about to put out a short series. I forget what it's called. But it's to do with consciousness. I think the basic question in this new thing is consciousness fundamental? And it made me realise or recall I've got an issue with the concept of consciousness, because it doesn't seem to... Okay, let's see, can we put this into some kind of... Alright. As far as we know, right, we have this perception that we are conscious. I get that, right? Maybe you, like I, have this sensation of sitting somewhat just behind our eyes, maybe, as a homunculus, a little man in the brain, as it were, experiencing through the senses. And the phrase often used to describe consciousness is the what it is to be like something. So I can tell you what it's like to be me, and that being like is consciousness. Well, let's face it, that's pretty vague. To all our other faculties, we can describe what they do pretty easily. But also, there's this weird sort of like locked box element to it, where they say, we all have this theory of mind. I feel alive, like the lights are on in me, and I'm assuming that they're on in everybody else, because that's what we do. Except for psychopaths, who assume that they're the only ones with the lights on and everyone else is just a human-shaped animal. Of course, humans are animals, but you know what I mean. But neuroscience can't place consciousness in the brain. Can't, locate any nexus of some kind of activity that would match with that kind of experience. And also, apparently, we can be sure that computers don't have it. And frankly, I find all of this suspicious. A faculty that we can barely describe, that we can find no evidence for in the body, and we have to assume it in... It's like nothing in the entire universe knows I'm conscious except for me. I mean, knows that I'm conscious. You may assume it, hopefully you do. But that's what I mean. We all have this kind of sense of it, but it's very vague. It's extraordinarily vague. I was wondering, does it just match with we have the experience of receiving information. Our eyes receive light and we receive that information. But really, beyond that, what can you honestly say consciousness is? If anyone thinks they got a better definition of consciousness, what I'm saying is, I'm beginning to think it's a false idea. Because they keep chasing this thing called consciousness that you can't really describe. It's like, well, how would you know if you found it even? Do you even know what you're looking for? When you look inside the brain, if you don't know what consciousness does, how would you know if you found it or not? I think sometimes into the bargain, like, okay, it's not just experiencing the input of information, but it's also our response to it as well. But then our own bodies have this kind of recursive nature. We've got our endocrine system, so, we receive information, our bodies respond to it, but then we also experience our body's response. You see something horrible, say, does it make you afraid and then it triggers your body to release adrenaline and then you experience the adrenaline rush as a rush of fear? Or do you see something in the back rooms triggers the endocrine response and then you feel... In either case, there is this kind of loop system whereby the experiencing of something triggers an extra dimension to the experience. I don't know. I think either the definition of consciousness needs to be sharpened up an awful lot, or just drop it as an idea. Otherwise, what is it you're really trying to capture with the word? Do you know what I mean? What are you trying to get at? Sorry about that. But it's been on my mind. It's like, what's going on there? Okay. Pipes. Let's have a look at some pipes. All commissions this week, but some interesting fellows. It is an Eldritch acorn in finest black and green contrast. Such nice grain on this fellow. It's a real crocodile green. That sort of black and green contrast. Looks like crocodile skin to me. Nice medium blast. Straight grain. Ring grain. Got the nice variegated straight grain along the shank. And some moss Cumberland as the stem. You've seen these guys before. I should say, sometimes I forget to mention. If you're wondering if I take commissions, it should be obvious that I do. Because at least one pipe a week is a commission usually. I do take commissions. It's best to email me about commissions at devilsreef@gmail.com. I have about a 7-month waiting list at the moment. I'm trying to shorten the waiting list. It used to be 8 months, it's 7 now. So it's not too bad. Right? It's not too bad. 7 months is like no time at all in pipe making. This is my sleek Dublin design in a really chunkily rusticated version. I was able to find that I always do this kind of like little camber for the rim. It helps with the shoop of the shape. I was just able to find, I'm going to put that down, I was able to find that on the actual burl. So that's really nice. Normally I shape that, but yeah, a grand bit of plateau. Just shaped the way I like. Paired with some blue Cumberland. I almost felt a sneeze coming on then. But no, it went away. Just a really nice swoop to the whole affair. Which is why I call him sleek. Maybe I should have called him Swoopy, but that would have been an odd name. And then finally for this week, some of you will recognise this guy. He is a lazy gentleman that hangs lazily from the jaw. In a chocolate and orange contrast. And as the customer requested, in a fire mosaic stem and shank end. From a new batch of fire mosaic that I just cast a week or so ago. Because I'd used up all of my last one, so I cast 2 more rods, so fire mosaic is back in stock. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I stopped making those for a while back because I'd made one yonks ago and forgot to make any notes on how I did it. I just kind of played it by ear when I first made it, and then I had to spend some time figuring out how I'd done it, and now I'm fine with it again. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing with that shape now. It's all good. All right. Okay. Oh, one last thing. My goodness, I keep forgetting to mention. So, it looks like I'm almost certainly going to Las Vegas this year. Amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. The tickets haven't been bought just yet, but everything is, all the stars are aligned. And yeah, I fully expect to be at Vegas. In October, I believe it's going to be. So if any of you guys are going to the Las Vegas Pipe Show, I'll see you there. How cool is that? All right. Okay. That's it from me. All being well, I'll be back next week with some more stuff to natter about. Till then, take it very easy. Your loyal pipe maker.